Hello everyone, I'm back from Michigan and I got more plants. I also have more kittens, just foster kittens that I'll show you at the end of the video, but they are very cute. But when we were at Walter's, they had a bunch of Proven Winners plants on their display and they needed them gone. Luckily, everyone that was there loves plants. So even if you were flying, they just had everyone run and put their plants in piles. They're going to ship the ones for people that flew. I got to put all of this in the car. Luckily, I did have room and drive it back. Now, did I pick out some things that I have no idea what I'm going to do with? Yes, but I'm sure I'll find somewhere to put them. So I'll start over here and then work our way around. First off, I got some lobelia. Now you might be wondering two questions. One, why are you getting annuals so late in the season? And two, didn't you already have these in your garden and they burned to a crisp in the heat? Yes, I did. I planted these in spring. I have the Laguna Royal Azure. I think this is just the prettiest blue color, like periwinkle blue of a flower. And then the Laguna Royal Pink, which is a nice cool tone pink. They were beautiful in the spring on the rooftop deck. And they are supposed to be more heat tolerant, but I think with the direct sun up there on the rooftop, they just burned to a crisp and I pulled them all by now. But I'm thinking I might just pop some back in for the rest of the season. I mean, they needed to go somewhere and I have a little bit of space from other plants that I pulled, so I just couldn't say no. I also might just do, maybe I could do a little like centerpiece on my table upstairs. Because even though we still get a lot of sun, it's not as hot anymore as it was. So I will be putting annuals into the garden. The next plant I grabbed was one of the Dark Side of the Moon Astilbe. I actually got, I think, 5 of these when Eric and Christopher were here, and they were helping me deciding how to plant this border that's not technically mine. So there's a few places I might put this. One, I might put it back there in that space that is mine. That way the planting continues on and it looks like it flows more. Or I might put this in the parkway because I'm gonna do a fall makeover in the parkway. I have so many ideas for that space and this space. I feel like I'm ignoring my actual gardens in favor of preparing for these. But this I might put in the parkway because I want like dark plants, white, greens, a little bit more of a modern look. And why this does so well is that it can do full sun or full shade. And you will find Astilbe everywhere in the parkways in Chicago. A lot of Astilbe, a lot of hostas, a lot of hydrangeas, anything that can do well in shade because a lot of our parkways are covered with trees. Now this can get 20 to 22 inches tall. It won't be that big in the parkway. I'll probably plant it maybe in like the second row because I still want to have some space for annuals. And it is hardy from zone 4 to 9. I have never tried to overwinter an Astilbe in a pot. We are zone 6. Again, general rule of thumb is 2 zones lower when you're trying to leave something out overwinter in a pot. But it could be something that might survive. But I feel like this is just more of an in-ground plant for me. Next, I grabbed 2 of the Dolce Sultry Night Heuchera. I like that name. So these can also do sun to shade. So these will definitely go in the parkway. I already have a feeling that I know where I want to put these, but I'm going to make sure I gather all the plants I want to put out there before I start planting anything. But this one is going to be perfect. It has that very dark foliage. It's almost, this one on the Astilbe is almost more of like a bluish black. This is more of a very dark purpley black. And I just think this is absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to have 2 of these for the parkway. I'll get to the bigger plants last, but let's continue on with tiny plants and plants that I have no idea what I'm going to do with. But these were just very, very tiny Fairy Trail Bride hydrangeas. I have 2 already that were much larger than this when Proven Winner sent them, and they are already in some of the self-watering pots. These are little tiny babies. And I love the cascading hydrangeas so much that what I'm thinking, okay, here's what I might do. I might put each of these in a small, either terracotta pot or small black pot and use them as a centerpiece on the table on the garage deck next year. I think that would look really pretty. Once they get large, where will I put them? I have no idea, but as long as they're tiny, at least I can find spaces for them. Fairy Trail Bride are marked as full to part sun. What I have found though is that in the very, very high heat of summer, when it was over 90 degrees here, for example, I did have 2 down here on this patio, which again only gets a few hours of direct sunlight, but it's at the hottest point of the day from like noon to 3, and they burnt to a crisp, and they did much better when I pushed them into full shade. But now that it's cooled down, I've moved them, which is why it's great to have your pots on wheels. I've moved them out to get more sun. Now this is hardy down to zone 6, which if I'm planting in the ground should be okay, but I would not leave these out in a pot over winter. I might plant them up into something a little bit larger than this, but I will plan to store these in the garage since they are so small and are only hardy down to zone 6. Next, we have a paisley pup, which is a completely new to me plant. This is a dog hobble, and it's an evergreen, which I did not know. I just assume, unless it looks like this, I just assume the leaves are going to fall off. But no, this is an evergreen, so it will give some winter interest, which is exciting because I don't have a lot of that around me. Now this can do part sun. This is gonna go in the parkway. I actually already have one when we did our panel a few weeks ago. Again, Proven Winners brought plants for the display and they need someone to take them. So I already actually have one of these in the parkway in the full shade side, and it hasn't died yet. So that's great, but this one is gonna go on the slightly sunnier side just because of where the tree canopy hits. So this will get some sun. It will probably grow larger than the one that's in full shade, but this can get 3 to 4 feet tall and 4 to 5 feet wide. Again, I think where I'm going to plant these, they probably won't get that large, but we'll see. And then this is zone 5 through 8. All right, let's move on to the big guys. I told my husband these were the priorities to fit in the car. So we definitely had to take these, but this is probably the plant that I have the least ideas of where I'm going to put it. In fact, I have no idea. This is the Powerball Panicle Hydrangea. I love doing head comparisons. Look how big this flower is. It is the size of my head. So I grabbed one. Now this, let's see what it says here. It can do full or part sun. It is hardy down to zone 3. So this one I could probably leave out in a container and it would survive. 3 to 6 feet tall and wide. Few thoughts with this. I feel like if I put it in the border behind me, it would smother a bunch of the other plants. Right now it's mostly annuals, but I do have some perennials in there as well. So I think I might put this in a self-watering container from Crescent Garden where I currently have a big leaf hydrangea. Because that pot is so large, I can't move it into the garage to overwinter it. Those hydrangeas do not survive out here in the winter, even when I've tried to cover them in a plastic greenhouse. Only the panicles so far for me has survived outside. So I think I'm gonna replace that this fall. I'll just pop out the macrophylla that I have. I will put it in some sort of pot that is more lightweight that I can carry into the garage because I do plan to bring them back out in the spring. And then I will put this in the self-watering pot. I also think because the pot's a little bit lower, this height would look really nice in there. So that's what I think I'm gonna do. Also, just the fact that these stems are so sturdy is incredible. But I have the urge to plant it now, but I'm not prepared. I don't have potting soil. I need to go get potting soil. So you're going to stay here for now. And then last but not least, I have, well, I was gonna say an evergreen. Technically I have 2 with the dog hobble, but I had to get another evergreen tree because I am on a mission to have some color back here on the patio this winter. I already made a video about kind of what I'm looking for. I did get some tips from Walters. And so now I think I'm ready to kind of collect the evergreens that I want. I'm gonna go to the garden center, grab a few more, but I have this one behind me right now that's gonna stay there over winter. I have my bluish one, which is somewhere over there. And now I have a yellow tinted one. So I think they'll look really nice together. So this is called Fluffy. It's a Western arborvitae. One thing I'm not sure about though, with the advice that I was given for evergreens and pots, they did recommend the arborvitae planting it outside in the spring. They said every other type of evergreen should be fine if you plant it in the fall and leave it out. This is a little bit larger than some of the other plants that I would be afraid to leave out, but I'm definitely gonna plant it up in a larger pot. I just think I might move it into the garage over this first winter and move it back out into spring if I wanna be extra careful, or I might just leave it out and see what happens. I don't know, we'll see, but this is already down to zone 5, and again, wanna go down to zone 4 in a pot. This is sun to part sun. It will get 5 to 10 feet tall, 3 to 6 feet wide, not in my pots. Well, medium deer resistance, which I guess technically now I'm at ground level. Not that there's a bunch of deer running through the city of Chicago, but I technically could get a deer in here now. rooftop deck. I've never had to worry about that. I haven't seen deer. I haven't seen rabbits back here, even though there are rabbits running around the sidewalks. Squirrels, I see them running around like on the telephone wires, but they've never come into my yard as far as I know. So I'm gonna pot this up probably in one of the black pots that I have. I did order a few medium sizes between the small and the large, and then I will decide where I'm going to put it for the winter, whether I'm going to give it extra protection or whether I'm going to leave it out and see what happens. So these are the plants that I got, and I am always grateful to get free plants because, again, I would not have as many plants as I do have if I wasn't given some of them from Proven Winners or Bailey's or Walter's Gardens or anyone who is kind enough to send me plants. So I'm gonna leave these here for now because I need to make sure I have a plan in place before I start planting, which I don't always do. But let's go inside and I'm gonna show you the kittens that we're fostering for just a few days. Here is Mooney and Spoonie. Mooney's on the left, Spoonie's on the right. I'm pretty sure they're from the same litter and they love each other very much. And then, oh, where'd you go? Here in the middle is Athena, and her story is really sad. So she was part of a litter of kittens that was severely abused, and she was the only one that survived. So I'm giving her all the rubs and all the love. I'm fostering just from Friday till tomorrow. So I'm just doing a short-term foster, and then they're going to the catcade. Despite everything she's been through, she also purrs anytime you touch her, or honestly, even when you look at her. Oh, she has no tail too, because she lost that. Yeah, I'm sorry, baby.